Hi, this is Trepacer. Welcome to Trepacer Saturday Horror Reviews. And I picked a movie that I saw a few years ago, actually more than a few years ago. But this is a George Romero film based on an adaptation from a Stephen King novel. Uh, and I saw this when I went shopping for movies on the day before Christmas Eve, and I saw this. And Barnes Noble was having a sale, so I had to pick this up, and I wanted to immediately watch this again because it's been a while since I've seen it. And of course, I'm talking about 1993's The Dark Half. Okay, this is based on the directed and written for the screen by George Romero, based on the Stephen King story. And this is stars Timothy Hutton, Amy Madigan, Michael Rooker, Julie Harris, Robert Joy, and basically this is the story of a guy named Thad Beaumont, played by Timothy Hutton. As a kid, he always wanted to be a writer, and but he would suffer from these headaches. And at first, his mother took him to the doctor, and she thought it was maybe because of him trying to write in the dark and stuff that was straining his eyes, and that was giving him the headaches. Until one day, while going to school, he passed out literally, and he got taken back to the hospital, and the doctors actually performed surgery on him, and they thought he had a tumor, but it actually was, believe it or not, an undeveloped twin that basically got absorbed by his brain, and they even show you like an eye, and they say even a tooth is like, and they basically remove it, and they think, okay, that's the end of that, and so he should be okay, and he was okay after that. And then growing up, he became a famous author, and he wrote these novels under an assumed name uh, of a George Stark, okay, and he wrote these novels where he basically George Stark as a character would be everything. Would be uninhibited. Could commit murder, rape, whatever, and he was just so uninhibited character, and he could do basically what he wanted to. Okay, and he was very successful doing that. But of course, he wanted to. Thad Beaumont wanted to do other things, and then one day, he's teaching. He's writing these books, but he's also teaching at a college, and he gets approached by this gentleman named Fred Clausen, who basically says, "Listen, I had a friend that works at the publishing house that knows that you're really, George Stark. You're really, you write it under a different name, and you got a different picture on the back jacket of the book. But I know you're George. I know you're George Stark. So if you don't want this to get out, you're gonna cut me a check. I'll give you a few days to cut me a check, okay, or else I'm gonna blab it all to the world." So basically, Dad comes home and tells his wife, played by Liz, who's played by Amy Madigan, that listen, this guy's trying to blackmail me because he knows that he had a contact at the publishing house, so he knows that I'm really George Stark. So she said, you know what? Why don't you just cut him off at the pass? Just announce to the world that you're George Stark, that you write the books. And he checked with his publishers, and reluctantly they agree, and he says, okay, good. They even make a big deal about it. They even come out and send an author out to a writer to write the story, and he tells them how he comes up with the story, how George Stark was basically created in this cabin. He's isolated, and he comes up and he writes with a pencil, and he also has a local photographer that comes out and takes pictures, and they even make a phony grave, because they're technically burying George Stark because he's not going to write these novels anymore. Okay, and they take pictures in front of a grave, and even put the day of the first novel and the end, I guess, of the last novel there, in his family plot, which is kind of weird, but they do that. They figure that way, he gets out, and his wife has full confidence in that he'll be able to write another bestseller. Anyway, after that happens, then murders start to happen, and and then of course they all, the cops start investigating these murders, and the clues all kind of lead back to that Beaumont. They kind of trace his fingerprints on one murder scene based on his army record, and of course they want to question him about this, and of course he doesn't say it wasn't me. I didn't, have an alibi for this. I was, this isn't me. And then, of course, then more people in Thad Beaumont's life actually start dying, and of course, the sheriff, played by Michael Rooker, is interested and said, "Listen, if this isn't you, I mean, somebody's going to a lot of trouble framing you, okay?" And then then of course, Thad, played by Timothy Hutton, he starts to hear these headaches, and he basically starts to wonder if George Stark, the character, uh, hasn't come to life. And really he's the one that's behind all these murders. And he basically tells the cops, "Listen, I got a description for you what George Stark looks like, and also who could possibly be on his hit list. And but these people still keep dying, and basically the rest of the movie is Thad and trying to figure out who this is that's who this George Stark is in real life, and why is he doing this. And I enjoyed this movie. This movie was actually delayed when it was made because the studio that made it, Orion, was I think they went to bankruptcy, so this movie was held back for like 2 years. Okay, but I liked it. You got some nice kills in this movie. A lot of people die, a lot of gruesome deaths in this, and it's the mystery to find out whether there's somebody framing Thad Beaumont, or has George Stark basically come to life? Has he basically been willed to life? So you have to figure out that. And I enjoyed it. It had a nice atmosphere to it. Nice, like the way it was shot, and I think George Romero did a great job with it. And I liked it. It was full of suspense. So not the best movie, but I think it was pretty well done. I think Timothy Hunt, excuse me, did really good in the movie. I think he was really good. Actually, he played both parts in the movie, and 2 parts in the movie, and I think he was equally as good in both parts. And I'm going to give The Dark Half, which like I said, I enjoyed. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Okay? I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was very well done, very well acted. And like I said, I watched the behind-the-scenes stuff, and Timothy Hunt, I guess, is a method actor. And George Romero was talking about how when he was dressed up as the George Stark character, you had to kind of dress him that way, and so he's a real method actor, and he had all kinds of issues that way. But the movie I thought was very well done. Okay, full of suspense, and I think Timothy Hunt was really good in the dual role that he played. Okay, and I liked it. Okay, so I'm gonna give The Dark Half a 7 out of 10. Okay, so anyway, let me know if you've seen The Dark Half. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. And if you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care.